Dan Ives is head of tech research for Wedbush with me here once again on set. It's nice to see you. How do you know that?
Because all we're doing during the week, on the weekends, is talking to buyers of the software, private companies, understanding what's happening within these sales cycles. Because that's why, when I'm talking about software being disintermediated, to me is I think it's the most disconnected trade that I've ever seen in my career on Wall Street. It's because when I'm talking to the actual buyers of the software, they're saying there's no way. It would take years for any of these tools to actually come in just on a bake-off. I'm not saying on the edges it's not a headwind, but Scott, my whole view is that software is actually going to be 2-3x larger over the next 4 or 5 years than it is today because of AI.
But it's not taking years. It feels like it's taking days for things like, Claude at work to have a dramatic impact on a number of sectors. Microsoft can't get out of its own way. That stock's in a bear market. There's no threat to Office, for example. We don't have to wait years for that. These tools are already being disruptive.
Well, part of it is if I think about what's happening within enterprises, they are so entrenched within Microsoft, within Oracle, within Salesforce.com, hundreds of thousands of customers, the data that's actually entrenched. You can't just come in as a connector, an API, and that's going to unseat these companies. And look, to me, I view it from decades covering tech, am I missing something? When I talk to the buyers of the software, whether it's CTOs, CSOs, IT managers, Scott, I think we are going to look back 6, 9, 12 months now, and this is going to be, when I say generate, I view it's a historical buying opportunity on names like Salesforce.
Okay, I want to get.
Most investors see clips like that and they scroll past, but the pros, they see opportunity. When high quality software leaders sell off, that's repricing and big dollars. Now, I'm going to break down in this video exactly how I'm positioning in ServiceNow, Adobe, and Salesforce. I'm going to show you the live trades that I've got on the trading platform. All right, let's talk about the market dislocation framework because a lot of people just don't seem to understand right now what's going on with these software stocks. Now, we're seeing a rare setup where AI disruption headlines, multiple compression, institutional rotation, and short-term fear are all hitting software all at the same time. Now, this disintermediation risk does not equal revenue collapse. No, the numbers, these companies are still killing it, and you're going to see that quarter after quarter, just like they've been doing going forward. What markets often misprice is the speed of the transition versus the durability of the platform incumbents. So leaders with entrenched enterprise workflows, deep data layers, ecosystem locked in, and AI integration capacity tend to re-rate. They don't disappear, and none of these three stocks are disappearing. They're just down right now, but they're going to move up. Just wait and see. Now, that's where the options structure matters and where we can really multiply our profits utilizing options and strategies like poor man's covered calls. All right, let's talk about why I'm targeting these three names because they're not going anywhere. Now, first off, ServiceNow. This is workflow infrastructure for the enterprise. Mission critical automation layers don't get ripped out overnight. They get expanded, especially with AI co-pilots embedded. Secondly, Adobe. Its creative tooling plus AI generation is not cannibalization. It's feature acceleration and pricing power expansion as long as execution holds, and they've been doing it quarter after quarter for many years. They're going to continue to do it as well. And then thirdly, Salesforce. Still the ecosystem and the system of record across CRM, service, and enterprise data layers. They're the leader in CRM. And all big companies with a Salesforce basically need to track their data, and a customer relationship management system is the way that they're going to do that. So AI sits on top of this data layer, and they've got it. It doesn't take away. You can't just replace it. It's embedded in companies' platforms, and the AI just actually helps it. It's a layer on top that adds to the existing system. So these are not speculative AI plays. They're platform incumbents, and they're integrating AI. So Darren, why aren't you just buying shares of these stocks? Well, Shares are capital heavy. Volatility is elevated, and timing entries, sometimes it's difficult. But hey, instead of buying the stock outright, I'm using stock replacement LEAPS options. So that gives me high delta exposure, lower capital outlay, defined duration, and convexity, and a lot of upside. Now, then I layer on top of that poor man's covered calls, so I collect that monthly income every single month. All right, let's talk about the LEAPS selection criteria. First of all, I'd like to go about 12 months out, so 365 days to expiration on the LEAPS option. I like to go around the 65 to 80 delta, and I want strong open interest, so tight bid-ask spreads, so liquid stocks. And then on the poor man's covered call overlay, I want to sell a short call, typically about 30 to 45 days out to expiration. This allows me to collect that monthly income on the pullbacks, and we can collect that income every month. And any drawdown, that's going to be a profit for us with that short call. So now, before I show my live trade structures, let's take a look at this clip.
Legal names. I mean, it's really started to spread yesterday, more so to a Salesforce, a ServiceNow, or ServiceNow, these companies that already have been pounded year to date.
Yes, certainly. As you showed earlier within the show, all these software stocks largely in the red to kick off today's trading session. And also earlier this week, Piper Sandler downgraded a few stocks there, Adobe, Freshworks, Vertex, and that really sort of gained momentum as we're making our way into this middle of the week. And on top of that, too, a lot of this rhetoric that we're hearing from the street is kind of like, I told you so. JP Morgan out with a note this morning saying that over the past 3 years, they've been warning their clients that this could happen, that AI is essentially coming for software here. They essentially said within the note that it's changing fast, that it could seriously change the landscape of software companies, and that these companies even need to evolve even more so than what they already have been trying to do. And on top of that, too, they even said that they ran multiple quote-unquote death of software webinars to get investors ahead of this. And so was there a bubble within the software? Like Tom said, were these valuations a little too hot for the street to handle? And now we're seeing a pullback as investors try to digest and understand where these software stocks stand as we move forward in a world where AI has just become more and more prominent towards the end of 2025 and really ramping up, and serious implications moving into 2026.
Tom, back to you. Look, these companies, software companies that got hit double digits yesterday, they're not going out of business today or tomorrow. But what is your buy signal on a company, let's say for Thomson Reuters? I mean, they're so dominant in their field, and I'm just not to single them out, but companies like that, what do you need to see as a trader?
Get safe on.
Well, there's a couple things. So as a trader, you want to see and again, not everybody follows volatility, but what you really want to see is some capitulation. And nobody knows, really nobody knows price. In other words, so it's very subjective. So when stocks get too cheap, it's completely subjective whether or not that's a bottom or whatever. But when you can see a lot of selling pressure, which comes in the form of really high volatility, which just is expected move. So when you get really high volatility and you see a lot of selling pressure, which you can see in volume, then you start to get to the point where you're like, okay, this looks like it's some form of capitulation. And as a trader and or investor, it doesn't matter. That's where you want to jump in. I mean, the challenge right now is that you've got a generation of traders and investors that have never seen a down move. And I'm a grizzly old trader that's been around.
Come on, Tom. You're still a young guy.
I mean, I traded in the '87 crash, so I'm very familiar with little Selloff. So I'm okay with this. But I think there's a lot of people out there, Brian, that have never even seen a down move, and they're looking at this like, oh man, look at this, 20%. Who cares? It's just an opportunity.
Guys, let me know in the comments below what you think of that clip. But right now, I think we're at the capitulation zone that Tom talks about. And when that happens, that's when there's big upside ahead. Now, the next one that I want to get into is the generational window structurally that we're talking about. So generational opportunities are not about the headlines. Now, I'm not going to say too much about it, but what we're seeing right now is software leaders are repricing. AI fear is overstated in the near term and volatility is elevated. So options premiums are rich. Let's jump into the live trades. All right, guys, here we are on the Tasty Trade trading platform and brokerage, my favorite for trading options. and super intuitive. There's a link down below. Check it out. If you go through my link, there's benefits. Now, you can see right here, Adobe, I've got a LEAPS option on. CRM, Salesforce, I've got a poor man's covered call set up. And then ServiceNow, I've got 3 leaps and 2 short calls against it. So I'll go through each of these. But let's look real quick here on the, let's see. If we look at Yahoo Finance, you can see right here, Adobe, take a look. You can see if we look at the 1-year chart, you can see it's been trending down, horribly undervalued right now, in my opinion. But stock price 263. You see the analyst ratings have it at 413, so much higher than where it is right now. If we go to the stats page right here, you can see the forward PE of 11, and this, for a grower like this, it should be growing. It should have a much higher PE than this. One thing I want to show you, and this applies to all 3 of these stocks, and just shows you how undervalued they are. But if we look here on the financial highlights page, you can see, take a look at the revenue, $23.77 billion, the net income, $7.13 billion, and then the implied shares outstanding, 418.6. If I pop those into my spreadsheet here, the numbers that I come up with, 23.77, 7.13 billion, 418 shares outstanding. I've got a conservative 23 PE and revenue growth rate and net income at 10 and 20%. It gives me a 470 1-year price target. Again, look at where we're trading at right now, 263. And the analysts have 413. Mine's even higher than that. So unbelievable opportunity, in my opinion. And you can see quarterly beats last 4 quarters, revenue and earnings increasing quarter over quarter, growth rate double digit, 12%. So, if we go through all these, Salesforce, similar situation with all of them. 189, 325 for the analyst targets. Again, if you look at the earnings history, they beat every quarter. Unbelievable growth rate, I'm sure. Double digit, 12%. I think that's conservative for Salesforce. And then similar situation with ServiceNow, 107, 188 target price. And the PE, I'm sure, is way down compared to normal. Forward PE 25, and it's had 48, 62. And then analyst. They beat all 4 quarters. So similar situation across the board, 20% growth with ServiceNow. So unbelievable. So let me show you what I've got. Adobe, I've got that LEAPS on, 334 days to expiration. If I were to put a trade on right now, I'm waiting for a big update and then I'll throw on a short call. I did actually a video on, I'll link it in the next, I'll link it below, but there's a poor man's covered call. I'm not sure if I'm going to post this one or the next one. I've got 2 I'm making right now, and it's poor man's covered call management strategy. So be sure and check that one out. But Adobe right here, if we go to the trade page, I would go out 334, closest to 365 days. I'd go deep in the money. I'd probably go to the 250. 56.20 or 56.70. Mid price is 55.15. So one contract controls 100 shares of stock, so that's $5,515. Versus if we were to buy 100 shares, it's 263 times 100, or $26,391. So quite a bit less. And then just like owning the stock, it replicates that stock ownership as you move up. If it gets up to those values that we expect it to be at 360 right here, you make $7,200 on a $5,500 investment. So against this, I would close that up then and sell a short call against it. I would go 30 to 45 days. We could go 33 days in March right here, and then we can go out of the money. And this time, instead of buying the call, we've got calls on the right, calls on the left, puts on the right. Instead of buying the call, we're going to sell that short call against it. We can go out to the 23 delta and collect almost $500, 485. As soon as we hit that, watch it be subtracted from the cost, because that goes right in our account. Boom. That brings the cost down to $5,000. So I would do a similar type setup and trade. We hit review and send and place the trade. Now let's go to CRM. Salesforce, same situation. I'm 215 days out, and I'm at the 240. And Price right now is at 186. And by the way, all of these stocks, if you go right here, you can check out the balance sheet on these guys and the financials, and you can see annual, you can see the revenue and net income on the income statement, all increasing, strong balance sheets. And because they're software stocks, they've got that recurring revenue every month, month after month, and huge margins, 77%. They've all got probably over 77%. But super strong balance sheets as well. So for Salesforce, I would do the same thing. And then for ServiceNow, let's look at that. I've got 3 leaps and 2 calls. I need to add a short call on an update as well. I need to add one more, but I like these setups. The 215 days, as soon as we get down to around 180 days, I'll look to close that out, and I'll move my short call even closer to at the money at that point. And again, that's that video that I talked about on the poor man's covered call management. But let's see ServiceNow. If I were to put on a trade right now, I would go out 334 days, open that up. I would go in the money, maybe the 100 strike, $26.60. Boom. 25.80 is the mid price. Then I would close that up, and then I would go to March, and I would go out of the money, and you can collect at the 120, you can collect $230. So boom, and then it's going to subtract it. Boom, down to $23.40. If we collect $200 a month, we pay off that $23.40 in about 10 months. Wow. Yeah, I like to get a payoff in 6 to 8 months. So this one's not quite as good, but it's still great. Still great. Pay that off in under a year, and you can control 100 shares of stock for free. So you hit review and send and place the trade. Dislocations like this create noise for most traders, but structure for prepared ones. Now, let me know in the comments below. Do you think that this software reset is a reset, or do you think they're headed lower? Let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, remember to smash that like button down below, subscribe, and join the free Discord linked in the pinned comment down below. You can see all my trades that I put on each week. It's free right now. There will be a monthly subscription charge, so get in now while it's free, and it's free for life if you get in now. So you can see all the trades that I put on. We've got a great like-minded community that also shares their trades and wins as well here. And then we've got a chat where we can talk about companies and trades so that we can think together and let each other know about opportunities so we can all make money together. There's even a stock option question section here. So it's basically free training. If you put a question in there, I answer pretty immediately. And then I also just added actually this morning this weekly allocation update. So I'm going to give you a update every week. We're going to look at the Fear and Greed Index, the PE Schiller, where we are historically with the chart of the S&P and the NASDAQ, and my allocation going forward. So, all right, if you like this video, make sure you watch this next